Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, also published on Rumble, Patreon, and Twitter X, and everything else there. Um, just a quick thing. It seems that YouTube just changed the algorithm or whatever they are doing there on the background regarding views. I'm still not sure what it's happening there, but I watch a couple of videos. I need to see if I can find any more information regarding this. It seems that, at least on the back end of creators, YouTube is only counting views if they are interacted with or if there is any kind of engagement. So before that, before supposedly any views were counted as a view. Now, I think at least for us as creators, the views only count if there is a like or or a comment or something like that. It seems that way. I think in channels that have monetization, it seems to be a little bit weird how that will go. But again, I will need to dig a little bit deeper there because I really did notice from a couple of weeks ago or something like that, kind of a decrease on average views, even though I'm a very small channel and I don't usually have like huge amounts of views, except for a couple of videos here and there when I tackle something that might be on interest of people in the broader sense of the scope. Yeah, I saw a huge downturn in terms of average views. Just as a comparison, I usually my channel views usually got around 30 views per on the gaming program stuff there, and they just like one third now, give or take. I thought it a little bit weird, but you never know. It's summertime. I don't know. With other stuff happening in the world, maybe more attention is turned there. But it seems that YouTube did some shenanigans on the view side of things. But again, I will need to see more videos or somebody that might delve that more in depth, so I can have a little bit more specific information. Then I will probably try to cover that. But yeah, it's something a little bit weird that I noticed. Again, even though I'm a very small channel, so I usually don't get too caught up on views and the such. But it's something interesting that might be worth try to dig a little bit deeper. But yeah, other than that, I didn't manage to episode yesterday. I was a little bit busy as usual, but I did manage to publish. Sorry, a Death Stranding episode there. Other than that, we got completing gameplay series and all that jazz in the main page of the channel. Let's go to the news. Seemingly, all this Zen 6 stuff there seems to be at least the rumored information and the leaks and all that things. Usually, I tried not to cover that much, but Zen 6 seems to be, in order to be a pretty good uplift, specifically compared to the Zen 5. I covered this kind of rough specs there in terms of they're skipping basically three nodes of manufacturing, and they going straight to N2P node, which is I think two nanometers. And again, there is several tiers in this node, specifically between server, cloud server, desktop, high-end laptop, and mainstream laptop. Again, the names, and it's always a shit show for me to remember any of this. So the Zen 6, kind of the server stuff, so the high end, which is called Venice. Then you got the desktop, which is the one that interests me more, which is going to be called supposedly Olympic Ridge. Then you got the high-end top there, which is Gator Range. And then you got the Medusa Point, which is going to be like APU stuff there and mainstream things for the laptop stuff, which is going to have a different, a different node, a kind of a mix, again, depending on the mainstream laptops or if it is a handheld, because your APUs are being used for handhelds and such. But it seems that the information, this is from Kepler. Yeah, it seems that we're going to get on the Zen 6. Basically, they're skipping a lot of, at least I think, three nodes of manufacturing, and probably on Zen 6 for desktop, so DIY sector, He seems to be having between a mix of chiplet stuff there between 2 nanometers and 3 nanometers. Again, this is mainly rumor stuff, but it seems to be indicating that each CCD, so each chip, is going to have 12 cores on the classic side of things. Then we're going to have like the dense core, but this is more for the server side of things. But it seems that instead of having, for example, the 600 series, which is usually it's like 6 cores, the 700 series 8 cores, and then all of them is dual CCD, so from 16 and I think 16 cores to 32 threads. Similarly, going to wrap up a little bit. So the 600 series is going to have 8 cores. Then the 700 series is going to have 12 cores, and then 24 with 48 threads there. Again, I'm talking only about cores, which is something very interesting. Supposedly, again, this is only going to come out probably next year, because you got a lot of refresh and new stuff that it's still from the current generation kind of a thing happening this year and the beginnings of next year, I suppose. Probably we'll get by the end of the year a little bit more detailed information of what this Zen 6 is going to be about, and hopefully I think it's still on par of still be supported on AM5 platform. Probably only Zen 7 or something like that might be on I don't know, AM6 platform or something like that. But yeah, interesting stuff. So the rumors and leaks seems to be consistent in that sense, which is good to know. Then we got an interview from Jensen Huang again, talking about the AI chips and the AI accelerators, specifically the sanctions and the restrictions, or both of them, regarding the AI accelerators from NVIDIA, even like desktop GPUs. For example, the 5090 is cut down, even the 4090 had to be cut down with a specific variant. We now know that supposedly there is going to be a 5090 double D, which is going to be even cut down stuff there for the specific Chinese market. Again, he goes about talking again. It's a little bit mixed bag, because again, he has to sell, given that China is the biggest market that they have, especially on AI accelerators and GPUs and all that jazz. Again, 1 point whatever it is billion people. Again, it's a lot of market for them, and the fact that China is ramping up AI accelerators and AI farms and all that jazz. Again, to have more computing power. But again, one of the main reasons we see a lot of these restrictions and some sanctions, I suppose, specifically from the United States to China regarding these AI accelerators, has to do with, again, what they call dual use products. In this case, GPUs or AI accelerators that can be used both for civil and military purposes. Again, Jensen makes the case that, again, in terms of military purposes, they supposedly have more than enough computing power for their own domestic purposes in terms of military use. I do believe to a certain point, again, that is the case, not only by the fact that they already, I don't know, managed to get around and get all the AIs to a certain AI accelerators per se that they need. But again, it's kind of a race war to a certain degree of the AI kind of a thing. But yeah, it's also the case that he wants to sell more. Specifically, if he can sell without need to do any kind of compromises on the hardware itself, on this market, it will be better for him. But again, even with this kind of restrictions, we've been seeing that Chinese markets, and to a certain degree also Russian markets, in terms of computing and manufacturing, they are again, supposedly they are behind, according to some analysts, like 10 years or more. But they're in-house chip manufacturing and processes and all that jazz. They seem to be starting to catch up. And there is some, again, according to the information that I've been reading here and there, it seems that a couple of more years and they will be able to probably start to catch up with the rest of the American market in terms of companies that tech companies. But yeah, because again, given that we got the recent evaluation of $4 trillion, again, plus the fact that I covered this last week, I think, regarding the fact that NVIDIA, of course, likes to distribute more AI accelerators throughout the world, mainly because I covered that article that some companies are have these AI accelerators and they are making loans and providing those AI accelerators as a collateral for that loan, which by itself, again, it's a market within itself, which again, I think it decreases at this moment in time the bubble, the AI bubble, in terms of evaluation of the companies, in terms of how they value themselves. Again, there is a lot of factors here. Again, I'm not sure how much this speculation bubble of the AI will hold on, given that even AMD is catching up very fast. Intel is way behind. They kind of missed the boat on that to a certain degree. Even the new CEO from Intel had to basically come up front and say that they're a little bit behind, to say the least. But yeah, we'll see how this will go with the AI bubble and the AI accelerator stuff there, and how long China will take to catch up, and to a certain degree also Russia. Because again, when you start putting some pressure, instead of trying to leverage the companies to um, continue to make those markets dependent on American companies, when you try to make it a stranglehold, and of course, if those countries consider that as a national security interest in terms of having that hardware, they will inevitably always going to put more resources and to make it things domestically in terms of production and manufacturing. They will invest more resources on that, and again, then they will not have the need of being dependent of third parties, or companies that are third parties. They don't have like a domestic interest there, and they will be cut off. So it will also increase a competitive edge, in this case specifically against NVIDIA, and it's something that the Jensen one doesn't want. Again, he wants the monopoly, the mind share of GPUs and AI accelerators. To a certain extent, it's still NVIDIA, even though, again, as I said, AMD is doing great strides with this new Instinct. I think it's the MI 350. I think they are supposedly pretty good. Again, I don't follow it too much in detail, but it again, the information that I've been getting, it seems that they are pretty good, and they can start be competitive against the latest Blackwell stuff there from NVIDIA. They are catching up pretty fast there. But yeah, we've been seeing that they want to keep the sales going up, infinite growth, and all that jazz. In terms of other stuff from the gaming industry, we got more details from we can call it the drama between Krafton and Subnautica 2 development studio there, which is unknowns what? Oh my god, unknown worlds. Again, we got. I picked up this article because it got a kind of recap of the situation, which is basically 2 years ago, a couple of years into Unknown Worlds being a Krafton subsidiary, so they got bought up by Krafton. Everything seems to be okay. According to Krafton, in November 2023, they were going to have a new Subnautica game to play by around June 2025, which is already passed through us. When Subnautica 2 was properly revealed October 2024, I think it was in the last not Tokyo Game Show, the Game Awards. Everything seems to be on track. Again, even though that reveal, I don't think it did very well, which seems to be, according to the predictions internally with Krafton, that they were going to, after the reveal, launch at least in early access, like they did with the last game, in June of 2025. Then the drama started kind of a thing there, or things start to blow up. Because again, I suppose that the fact that they had the June 2025 prediction of launching this as an early access on July 2nd of this year, they fired the three co-founders of the studio, and they replaced with former Striking Distance Studios head Steve Potzis, which was the guy that was the head studio when Callisto Protocol was launched, if not mistaken. Um, they at the time didn't offer an explanation for letting go these three co-founders. Um, yeah, which was a little bit weird. People were talking about it. Um, and then on the next day, July 3rd, Unknown Worlds did its best to reassure that everything was in good hands. There is no reason for alarm of the departure of these three co-founders. Then on the next day, July 4th, Cleveland, which is one of the co-founders, published a lengthy statement on social media in which he called his and co-founders' departure quite a shock and claimed that Subnautica 2 was ready for the access release. On July 9th, so around 5 days after, Bloomberg, through, oh my God, I always forget his name. It's so forgettable, Jason Schreier. They published a report that claims Subnautica 2 has been delayed to 2026, which would jeopardize Unknown World chances of earning the famously talked 250 million bonus to the studio. Again, a lot of people at the time said that the fact that they only could reach this, the people were telling that this bonus was associated by the fact that this game was to be launched in this year in early access, which is not the case. The only thing that was associated with this 250 million bonus was depending on revenue of the studio if they reach that target by the end of this year. Again, a lot of confusion regarding this bonus stuff there. And then hours after the Bloomberg published the report, the delay was confirmed by the studio itself, so the developer studio, Unknown Worlds, which published a statement saying that the decision to delay the game was based on feedback it had received during internal playtest. Krafton also added that delaying the game was not influenced by any contractual or financial considerations. So basically saying that, yeah, the game was really not ready, independently of bonuses or no bonuses. The game was not ready to be launched, even in early access state. Then on the next day, so July 10th, Capcom pointed its finger directly at the three co-founders, blaming them for Subnautica's 2 delay, alleging that they had abandoned their roles and responsibilities. Again, I think this comes again with posts on Twitter or X or whatever, trying to blame themselves. And basically, Krafton was pretty clear saying that the fact that the game was not ready for early access was because, again, these three co-founders did that fiduciary responsibilities to put this game in a good state of launching in early access by June of 2025. Later in the same day, again, they got the thing with the lawsuit, saying that the lawsuit was a breach of contract and all that jazz, even though, again, it's always something that always happens with these kind of things. Then the next day, July 11th, documents claiming to be part of internal presentation documenting Subnautica 2 development leaked online. Again, we'll have to assume that it was Krafton that managed to leak out these documents because, again, it's one of those things where she said, he said kind of a thing there. And then basically, I think the documents themselves show that Subnautica 2 was below the level of polish and market impact required to drive IP growth and expansion. It also showed that the content initially planned for the early access launch had been removed and overall dubbed the game as not ready for launch, even in early access, due to a gap between the current state and the current content volume assumed during the initial planning. It is necessary to reassess the release time and roadmap. Again, it's one of those assessments that they do periodically throughout the year to see how the game is, or any kind of game is, in which state, if it's ready or not, if it's going through the planned release date, and if it is going through the supposed stages that should be going according to the timeline. But yeah, we got this leaked document, and then as yesterday, July 14, over the weekend, again, Krafton issued a statement saying that again these leaked documents are really indeed the documents that came from this, I don't know, planned meeting or something like that. And basically, they said that the documents being circulating on social media and reported by various outlets is indeed part of internal milestone review conducted as part of Subnautica 2 project. Krafton has confirmed that portions of it have been leaked and now are being widely shared across online platforms and within the fan community. They recognize the confusion this has caused. Given the circumstances, Krafton has determined that transparent communication is necessary and has chosen to confirm the authenticity of the document. And they believe that minimizing speculation and ensuring accurate communication with players must take precedence. Again, basically, it seemed that the production was not going as it's supposed to, and then internal reviews and feedback from play testing and all that jazz led to the game not being even any kind of conditions on launching, even in early access on June 2025. And basically, that supposedly what led to Krafton take the decision of removing these three co-founders of the studio. Again, a lot of drama per se, but again, I don't think this is abnormal. I think it's something that, again, if we're not, again, we don't know exactly what was said and all that jazz inside and communications, internal communications, but we can assume that the game was basically being delayed, and they basically, it seems, again, it seems these three co-founders really want to rush the early access launch to try and make up to see if they can reach the target of that bonus of 250 million bonus there, in terms of that to be, again, I assume, redistributed between them and the rest of the studio. And of course, Krafton, given that it is the publisher and to a certain degree the owner of the IP and the final decision maker, said no, 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 no. This is not being carried up on par with the timeline that it's supposed to be. There is not enough content. The quality is not good. We are not going to launch a botched game just because you want to try and see if the early access sales can reach to the goal, so then you can get your $250 million bonus there. Again, it seems that way. Probably we'll get a little bit more clarity as this develops a little bit more. I don't know, we'll see. But again, it seems that way to a certain degree. Again, nobody's innocent here. Again, it's one of those things. But yeah, other than that, we got Lords of the Fallen supposedly now reached a new milestone, which reached to 5.5 million players. Again, this is not sales; it's players, because when the game came to Xbox, they went to directly to Game Pass. But it gives at least a little bit of insight of that the game is doing relatively good. At least that's my assumption. Again, we got that thing when before they launched the version 2.0, the CEO tried to come around and ask for feedback to see what they want, what they didn't want, did some voting there, specifically regarding character selection, regarding the type 1 and type A body type stuff there. And again, because he did the thing of listening to player feedback, the game is being selling a little bit better, passing all the provisions that they had for the sales of that time, a little bit after. And again, the fact that it's on Game Pass, for sure they got a little bit fee to be integrated on that service. And they managed to now reach to this 5.5 million players. In terms of sales, exactly, I'm not sure, but it didn't sell badly, that's for sure. And I think the 2.0 version of the game, kind of the major overall in a lot of stuff, it seems to improve a little bit more the game itself, which is at least good to see that the feedback that was implemented by the studio was taken into account there. And then lastly, we got supposedly Need for Speed franchise might be shelved by Electronic Arts. Again, a little bit more things regarding killing games or killing franchises. Again, this is not a kind of a leak or a complete. Um, uh, 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 it's not coming directly from EA. This is associated. This kind of rumor, let's say, or information comes from Speed Hunters, which is interestingly was funded by Electronic Arts, and for some reason not been updated over 3 months. With the last post now dated April 8th. Again, it's kind of a site which is kind of a forum kind of a thing there, and the fact that supposedly it's on ice in the sense that it's been shelved. At least that's the conclusion that they reached there, because supposedly no more funding for the site, and because the fact that they are not doing the funding of the site anymore, supposedly, it must mean that any kind of games from Need for Speed franchise will not come out, at least in the short to medium term. There, it seems, or it can be they just, again, they don't see a purpose of having a site being funded by them. Maybe they are trying to cut expenses. I don't know. We don't have definitive or official information from EA regarding this situation. But yeah, the latest games were not that good. I think the one that it was okay-ish was this one, and Need for Speed Unbound, I think, at least from the review side of things. But yeah, this franchise is being like in a very low state, in the sense of launching good games or that captivate the market of racing games. It's similarly the only one that seems to be of interest of catering to racing fans seems to be Forza Horizon 5, because even Forza Motorsport's not that good. Then you got on the PlayStation side the Gran Turismo, but I don't know how that is going. I assume it's doing okay. But yeah, the only thing that is reaching PC players is it seems Forza Horizon 5, even though it's a game that has been launched like 4 years ago. It seems the one that it's keeping the that racing thing alive there. But yeah, this is all I got here for today. Let's go for some gaming deals. We got Batman Arkham Collection still on sale, 85% off. We got Bioshock the Collection, 80% off. And we got also Cocoon, the puzzle game, 40% off also. We got Journey, excellent game. I played this one on console long time ago, but I did enjoy very much the experience. And it's 67% off. We got No Man's Sky till the 26th. It's 60% off. Again, 20 plus content updates, like huge content updates for free. And again, very positive feedback from everybody. Then we got still Red Dead Redemption 2 on sale, 75% on the base game and 80% on the Ultimate Edition. Then we got Stray, you play as a cat, 40% off. I don't know what to tell you more. And then we got Vampyr, seems very interesting game, from 2018. 80% off. You play as, I think he's a doctor that was bitten by a vampire, and then there is a lot of choice and consequences. This comes from Don't Nod Entertainment. It seems an interesting game, regardless, and the fact that it's this cheap. Um, the reviews at the time were kind of okay-ish, so it's one of those that you might want to try out. But yeah, other than that, this is it for today. I will wrap up with a plug on my Patreon as usual. For extra support, that extra support is more aligned for me to get around and get a better storage solution, so I can have backups of stuff that I do for my clients, and of course some extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a full day, and I'll see you in the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.